All right, welcome everyone to another episode of Geekamole. This night being brought to you sort of unlive, kind of in a spooky October undeath kind of a way, in that we're pre-recording because we have stuff to do on Saturday. Sorry, well, I don't. I don't have a live. They do. I'm Drew, your host, and above me are Cece and the Mouse. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. May the force be with you.
Mouse, do you have a title this week?
Well, I am back to being the mistress of the novices, just for the time being.
Oh, okay.
I'm still waiting for my promotion.
What,
You know,
what do you get to be after that?
well, Mother Superior, of course.
Oh, okay.
One of the things I was just going to comment, when I said that may the force be with you. I grew up Catholic, and I don't know if this happens to other Catholics or not, but every time I hear may the force be with you, I immediately go, and also with you.
It's not just the Catholics. It's pretty much any older denomination, like the Presbyterians, the Episcopalians.
Was raised Methodist and have absolutely no compulsion to say that.
Yeah.
I, on the other hand, have been hearing the Sith version. May the Force serve you well.
Nice.
All right. So, what have you guys been up to the past 2 weeks because of the unfortunate hiatus and the fact that I didn't broadcast last week, even though I said I would?
Yeah, you didn't, did you?
I will go into that later.
Did you record something there?
Life happens.
Okay. I will start off by saying I was at Twitchcon.
Yay!
We will discuss Twitchcon in a few minutes. However, I was supposed to be doing the show with Mummer, and getting to the hotel and realizing I had to pay. Hotels in San Francisco are not cheap. And I am now currently broke as hell because hotels in San Francisco are not cheap.
Not cheap.
And having to pay for not only the room, but to pay for internet access to the point that I could stream would have been expensive. So, yeah, that was not going to be a good idea. I didn't feel comfortable with the security of it, and the fact that I would have had to nail Mummer to a chair for 3 hours when he was a busy butterfly, that wasn't going to happen. And, it's one of those things like all the best intentions of the world, and sometimes, you get there and you're like, it's just not going to work out, and it's not going to be a quality show, and I don't believe in putting out things that I don't feel are quality, so I just said, you know what, I'm just not going to put it out because I don't want to put out crap. So, don't you me.
You missed a golden opportunity. You could have turned it into like a Blair Witch type documentary.
I could have turned it into a Blair Witch. What, do you want me to strap him to a chair?
No, I mean, you could have followed him around with your little camera and,
Well,
like, oh my god, we're TwitchCon!
Okay,
And
first of all, my camera doesn't record audio. My actual camera is old. Really old. I have not been able to afford to replace it yet. That said, I took my iPad everywhere, recorded a lot with my iPad. I ran out of memory.
that's where you get a Galaxy. And you can put little memory cards in it, unlike the iPad. I love Apple, I love the iPad, but the whole thing that you can't add stuff to it.
Okay, are you ready? Are you ready for this? Okay, I will explain what this thing made me do. I have an iPhone now. With an unlimited data plan.
Right.
I don't like cell phones. I despise them with every fiber of my being. I have gone 3 years without having a phone. After the convention, I went and got one because Mummer had his, and he has unlimited data, and we were periscoping on the way down to the convention, and I wish to God he would actually go read his Twitter and go get the periscopes, because it was I thought they were pretty funny for two dudes who were not terribly lucid at 2 a.m. in the morning driving in the dark down the I-5.
Oh, nice.
Well, I was awake, but yeah, we were just bullshitting about. And someone was actually watching us. This was the thing. Someone was actually watching and participating. It was weird. But I have to get him to actually get it because Periscope only keeps videos up for 24 hours.
Oh.
So I can't grab it myself because I didn't get home until 72 hours later. But as I understand it, he can still get it because it's still attached to his account. So I just need to poke at him to get the 2 Periscope videos so that I can have access to them. So, yeah, I have some things to report from TwitchCon. I did actually go to the convention. I did look around. But let's be honest, it was for Twitch people. It was not a show that's going to have a lot to say to everybody. So it's not like E3. It's not like,
Comic-Con.
time where I geeked out and went, oh, stuff! And then completely forgot that I was there to talk to things. So, yeah. So, what were you guys up to?
Well, we did opera things. I may have crashed a company vehicle at my job. Good for me. And
We went for pizza after that.
And while Drew was talking about, a bit of backstory. So I mentioned that one of my jobs is that I work one-on-one with children, and sometimes I will take the children out to, say, McDonald's or the park because they're children and they should do things like go to the park and run around in the park,
Into the woods.
so that they're not running around my tiny apartment. And I've had a problem where I've had a lot of single dads come up to me and start hitting on me, and they're like, "Oh yeah, is that your kid?" And I'm like, "I'm just tired of this." So my parents jokingly bought me a Ring of Power, the Lord of the Rings thing. Like, I don't know if you can see it there, but while Drew was talking, I just now got it stuck on my finger.
Uh-oh.
And I can't get it off. So I'm just going to be sitting here.
Bind them all.
Yeah. I was like, oops, because this is not the finger it was intended for, and I have giant knuckles.
Congratulations, baby. You are married to Sauron.
Good for me.
Or no Muhammad, one or the other.
Well, he does own a lot of land. You could do worse.
If I can't get it off by the end of the episode, I will be using the floss trick. Otherwise, we're just going to do this broadcast with the Ring of Power on my left hand.
One does not simply walk into Mordor.
One does not simply put the Ring of Power on their hands. Like, I think this is actually part of me already getting addicted to it.
Yeah.
Quite possibly, but you magically stayed visible for us, so thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
That ironically being said, we don't know any point she could vanish because Skype doesn't like me. So.
Yep. Well, if I vanish, it's because of the ring. Not
we'll blame the ring.
Skype. It's just Skype going, there is no one there. I cannot see them.
It's the Ring of Power. I must obey.
Yeah.
I must obey.
Mouse, what up? What up?
Well, I've still been looking for a job. The language place did not chose to hire someone with more experience because, again, I have been in the U.S. with 15 years on a student visa, so I haven't had a chance to actually have a lot of work experience, so that counts against me. So I'm trying to still find employment. I'm singing this Saturday for an opera company's opening season concert. Last Saturday, Cece and I did opera things. We went and had a lesson with soprano who had a huge career and had like the Metropolitan, and she was awesome, and it was like the coolest Saturday ever. And this week, one of the games I helped kickstart, Read Only Memories, just dropped, and I was playing it, and it's this retro, old school retro point and click adventure game sort of game thing, and it's really, really good, and I'm doing a let's play of it, so you can see it on the channel, and it's really good. It touched me in the Blade Runners.
I'm just enjoying Cece's expressions as
I
she
know.
yanks at the finger.
I'm trying.
I got it on the knuckle. It's on the knuckle.
I tried talking, but their expression.
Wow, she turned red on that one.
Yes, it's off. Woo! My finger is not the right color, nor is my face, but it's off.
Good, we don't
It's
have to
off.
drop you into Mount Doom. You're
Okay.
safe.
Next episode, I will play the mouth harp that Cece's mom got me, which is right over there on
Yes.
my desk.
my mother found out that he was getting his green card for real, and she said, "Oh, he needs to be a real American," and sent him a traditional
mouth harp.
American instrument, a mouth harp. So maybe we'll get to hear him.
So what does that make me? I don't own a mouth harp.
You're a full American.
I'm a
You're
full
also a Californian, so you're not.
Yeah.
Take it back. Take it back.
You're
I'm
a Californian.
kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Take it back.
You're like, oh my god, like I totally not. Like
Yeah.
Totally not. I'm like,
no, Cece does the mountain girl voice. The valley girl, sorry, mountain girl.
Because
That's
I
a
totally had this roommate who was actually like from the valley. She was really, really sweet, but she was not always the most down to earth person, if you know what I mean. Like we had some very strange conversations about like, when do you go to the hospital with glass lodged in your foot? It's
I think you told me about that one.
It's like 2 inches. Should I go to the hospital? Yes. What should I do? Oh, I don't want to go to the emergency room. Oh, have you had a tetanus shot? What's a tetanus shot? I don't know how to answer that. I don't know how to answer that.
Reminds me of every once in a while I will fall for the Facebook bait and let's see somebody had the top 15 things that doctors and people in the medical profession have had to tell patients, and my favorite one one of my favorite ones was the girl had to be called in for an STD check.
Yeah.
And she was insisting that she's fine. She just sleeps with the one boy, but it's okay because even though he sleeps around, he washes the condom.
The condom. And the nurse goes, "I'm sorry, what?" And she says, "Oh yeah, he washes the condom every time with soap and water." And the nurse goes, "Condoms are one use only." Wow. And I just thought to myself, that ranks right up there with the, "Are you sure this baby's mine? It came out of my vagina, but yeah.
Sure it's mine."
Now, I should say, this roommate was a very, very, very sweet girl, and I love her to death. She was great, and I think she has an album coming out. I would totally pimp it if I remembered what it was.
If I could remember who she was.
Well, she was not a classical musician like me, so we really didn't run in the same circles. Which, in many ways, I think it's ideal that your roommates don't do the same stuff as you, because after a while you'd begin to hate each other, especially as performers. So having someone,
maybe it's a performer thing, but I've had roommates who did quite a bit of the same types of things that I do, and I've 7 o'clock both gotten along with them and not gotten along with them. So I think it's
I don't know. I think I would get along with CZ, but if if I had to room with some of the other tenors I have met, I would probably end up murdering them in their sleep.
That's the thing. We would not be competing for the same roles.
That too.
So,
but so many of the tenors I know are kind of unhinged.
Yeah. But anyway,
speaking of unhinged, let's get the show on the road. So we titled this, thanks to Mouse, Topsy Turvy Jetpack Dance Party, because I didn't want to have to come up with a title, and he was glorious enough to give me 14 of them.
Which is
in rapid fire succession.
He suspected I was on cocaine at the time.
Well, I told him to put the heroin down because I was trying to read something at the time.
It was just regular coffee.
I'm sitting there trying to read an article, and it's like, bloop, 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 bloop. Stop. All right. So first off, we're going to talk about gaming news, and we're going to go back and revisit something that we all kind of enjoyed looking at, and that is Coffin Dodgers. And I actually have a video to show. It'll be silent, but go ahead and talk, guys.
Coffin Dodgers. It's now live on Steam, as in like the full game, not just early access. Correct. So the full game is now live on Steam. Last I checked, it was actually on sale until the 10th, so by this time goes live, it won't be on sale anymore.
Yeah, right now it's at $5.49 on Steam, and it's normally $10.99, almost
so
50%
it's
off.
still a $10 game that looks amazing. They said, what is it, 12 race tracks or something?
Yes.
The premise of Coffin Dodgers is that you are an older person who has just moved to a retirement home, retirement community, and someone else, and one of the retirement community members is the Grim Reaper. And so you have to race for your soul and for the right to stay alive. And there are zombies, and you can equip, and you can upgrade your. Oh, it's a what you drive what is essentially a rascal.
Yeah.
A rascal scooter. Those just sit in or the kind of things you see at Walmart with the carts that actually very few elderly people use.
A Zimmer frame.
Yeah. So it's really, really looks amazing, and I'm very excited about it.
And I'm going to be doing a playthrough, let's play of it, sometime later in the week after I'm done with Read Only Memories. CC should totally buy it so we can play multiplayer.
I can get. They do have a free demo, which I can totally get.
That too.
Well, then do it. Make it happen.
Yes.
And Mouse has been doing quite a few of his independent reviews, so that's up on YouTube. And maybe I'll play a few of them after Geekamole today on Twitch. Who knows? But so that's the game there.
And I was working on my first full-fledged review called Word of Mouse for Chroma Squad. Unfortunately, I was doing it on Windows Movie Maker, and I had an video schedule internal error. Windows 10 went crappy on me because Windows Movie Maker is as useful as I can't repeat the words I used, but yeah.
But anyway, Mouse has got a Coffin Dodgers review coming up. I may or may not be joining him depending on my schedule. I may suddenly be unavailable for a couple of days, and I can't talk about that, especially not on the media. So I'll get in trouble with the government. So things I'm not supposed to say.
Then we don't want to know.
She's shooting the next Avengers movie.
Yeah, but there may be a time when I just disappear for a day or two, and I'll be back.
I'll be on RuPaul's Drag Race for 6 months.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
By the government, I mean the drag government.
Yes, the drag government, because it's a thing.
Yes.
Illuminati confirmed.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, moving on. Fair disclosure, Mouse and I have both backed this. Torment Tides of Numenera.
You skipped something there,
no,
boy.
I didn't.
No, he didn't.
Okay, go on.
I got it in order. I'm good. So, Tides of Numenera just basically came out with some alpha gameplay, and I kind of skipped over the graphic here that basically said, "Hey, this is temporary UI, this is alpha footage, etc." But they were showing some of the gameplay of their crisis scenarios, where when you get into one of their, if I recall correctly, these are their versions of a random encounter, essentially, that could occur at any point in time, and you are given multiple options in order to address them. Everything from proactively attacking people, to interfacing with machinery, to changing the environment around, to trying to convince someone to surrender through conversation. And each one has its own impact, and each one has its own difficulty, and the game actually remembers, what it is that you do, and will that decision could come back to haunt you, whatever it is, later down the line. So it really is kind of shaping up to be every kind of messed up thing I wanted it to be, and I really can't wait for this game. Of all the games I've backed, of all the things I've backed, because I'm one of those horrible people who, as I've said before, kind of forgets that he backs it, and then they go, "Oh yeah, you need to go sign up for this thing to get your stuff," and I never do.
It kills me that they do that. I feel like when you back it, they should just automatically have you on a list.
Yeah, but I understand that they can't. Well, this. And the City of Heroes successor, those two things are not getting out from under my thumb. Those are the ones I've been watching the longest, and I will do what is necessary.
It's kind of sad. When I was working on my review for Chroma Squad, I started working on my disclaimer. I backed Chroma Squad and whatnot, and then I was surprised. I in fact did not back Chroma Squad. At this point, it's just that I have reviewed so many of the games that I have backed that I got into the notion that I did back it. But here's the thing: I got into the early beta for the game. I have no idea how I got into the early beta for the game if I was not a backer. I must have backed it somehow, but not through Kickstarter, and I can't find any receipt or anything. And
Well, Mouse, remember that you did have a second account for a while there.
I do still have a second account, and I logged into that second account, and I didn't. That's my secondary account is the one I backed this game that we're talking about right now, and Hard Light Driver, and also Hyper Light Driver, and the Mage game, but no Chroma Squad anywhere.
Perhaps they simply have heard of you and wish to give you an option.
I have no idea how I got into the beta, but I do know I paid them. I just don't know exactly how or when and for what.
It wasn't on. Did they have a Steam beta or something?
They might have had a Steam beta, and I wonder if that counts as being a backer or not.
Well, possibly. Who knows?
Oh, and hilariously enough, because I had two accounts, I backed a game twice.
Well, you're really into it then.
Well, then send the swag my way.
Well, it's Mage's Initiation, which is an RPG set in the classic Sierra style adventure RPGs like Quest for Glory. So
Sounds good to me. You're just like, I could have backed them with the same money at the same time and gotten more stuff.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Who knows? Whatever.
Yeah, well.
So shall we move on?
Let us move on.
Next up is the announcement that Dust, an Elysian Tale, is moving to iOS. Mouse, you want to tell us about that?
Yes, as if you remember, Dust and Elysian Tale is a very adorable, beautiful, gorgeous platformer game that was essentially the hard work of one person for over 2-3 years. The game is fluently beautiful, cinematic, and it was one of my favorite.
And I loved beating the crap out of it.
And you loved beating the crap out of it. And now we don't have many details. It was just hinted on the Facebook page that it is coming now to iOS this year, and to stay tuned for further announcements. And if you haven't played the game and you would like to play it on your iOS device, I heavily recommend it. It's a lot of fun.
For those who haven't seen the gameplay, go to YouTube. I played it. It's there.
And I did not kickstart that one. I am sure I didn't.
I didn't kickstart it either, but I should have.
I should have, but I didn't. It gets a little bit hard to keep track of things. According to Kickstarter, I have backed 50 projects over the last couple of years. So
you'll just need to make a big list.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to, because I did back Armello, and it's actually funny. A lot of the games that I backed, like Read Only Memories, hardly anyone talks to me about them because we don't run in the same circles. But the moment Armello hit Steam, I kid you not, I had 20 people hitting me on Facebook or Twitter or Steam going, "Oh my god, you would totally love this game."
Me being one of them.
You being one of them. It's like, I backed this game.
Because I'm like going, oh my god, hey Mouse, did you see this? And I'm like going, oh wait, he owns it. Never mind.
Yeah.
Damn it. So, speaking of ports, let's move on to Sega and
let's raise a glass for the corpse
Sonic Lost World. Now, okay, let's be honest. Of all the games they could have ported, perhaps not the wisest choice, but that said, it is an opening of the door to get console ports to the PC. Now, if the ports are done well, then good on them. I mean, again, not necessarily the best game choice, but if they're going to screw up one who no one cares about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we already had Sonic Generations ported for the PC. And that one actually was, a good one.
Well, then let them play with this one and see if it keeps up the trend.
Sonic Lost World is supposed to come to Steam in November, so we have yet to hear if said port is any good or not. I am honestly kind of curious why, but there are a lot of games that are a little weird for me for them to be like, yes, we're porting this to PC, but I think Sonic is one of Sega's largest franchises nowadays because Sega's not really that big a competitor anymore.
Well, it was one of their biggest.
Yeah.
It used to be, but Sega has, for the past decade or so, Sega has had an incredible track record, and I do say this with awe in my voice. They are one of the few companies who has managed to thoroughly and completely ransack and destroy what used to be a beloved franchise through the weirdest choices for games and for third-party development. They have some of the most bizarre Sonic games, and it's not hard to get Sonic right. He runs fast. There's loop-de-loops.
And he doesn't kiss human princesses, because that's just creepy.
That's
weird. He doesn't kiss human princesses. But, I don't know, it's like Sega got bitten by Konami and developed Konamitis, and is...
Konamitis.
It's a Where Konami.
It's Where Konami, and it's basically slowly but surely eroding away at whatever good memories there were in Sonic. So I don't know. I really don't know.
Konami necrosis?
Konami necrosis, very much so. Honestly, at this point, Sega should just call it quits and sell Sonic to Nintendo.
Or sell it to me. I'll make it work.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's not that hard to get Sonic right.
Well, so they've been trying to do a lot of groundbreaking ideas with the Sonic games. They're trying to change things up and add new mechanics, and sometimes these mechanics work really well, and sometimes they don't.
It just seems that it's the wrong franchise for that kind of experimentation.
Yeah, you need to go. It's again, borrow the page from SquareSoft. If you want to be innovative, play with another franchise. If it works, then incorporate it.
Well, they kind of stopped doing that, and they started innovating with Final Fantasy. And
well, that's why I said SquareSoft, not Squeenix. SquareSoft.
And well, here's the thing: you can experiment with Mario because Mario has the mechanics that are associated with Mario are a little bit more three-dimensional than just he runs very, very fast.
Well, not just that, but Mario and the Zelda games, for example, already have a precedent of they basically have established that these aren't just platformers; they actually have other types of environments that they can take these into. They can make puzzlers. They can make, they've got examples of successful and very popular examples of other things, and
Sega doesn't have any. Sega doesn't have any.
Yeah, anytime Sega tries to do something like, oh, it's a Mario did that kind of thing. It's like The Simpsons did it kind of. Yeah, so it's like, fine, give it to Nintendo if you really must. I don't care, but that's you have to be innovative in that way, or just stick to the routine that and just make it fun.
Yeah.
I would disagree that that the Mario franchise is a little bit more complex than just running and hitting circles, because if you go down to it, Mario was originally just a game where you jump on the turtle things and you don't die. Well,
I mean, you've got everything.
If you're good, you don't die.
You've got everything from the standard two-dimensional platformers where your originals, and then you've got things like Luigi's Haunted Mansion to Yoshi's Island. I mean, they've already proven that you can take almost any character in the franchise and turn it into the main character. Then you've got things like Mario Kart. You've got the freaking dance party stuff. You got Smash Brothers, for crying out loud. I
think the big difference is that the Sonic people, instead of trying to create, use these characters in games that have already been established. We've already had a lot of other games. As much fun as and as different as Luigi's Mansion is, it's still you're running around a house fighting these particular things. It's not really that different. It's like the Mario Kart. It's a racing game. You have Mario Golf. It's golf. Mario Party. Okay, it's basically a board game with little in-game mini games. Whereas what Sonic is trying to do, what Sonic has done is less approaching these different subgenres of styles of games, and they're trying to change the mechanics themselves, which I would consider to be a very different way of approaching the game, and I do say it's a lot more dicey.
I just had a horrible image. At first, while you were talking about that, I'm like, it'd be cool. I'd like to see a Sonic JRPG where you just have Sonic and Tails and everybody, and they join you, and you go out and all your attacks. And then I thought, oh God, Sonic Resident Evil. No.
There was a Sonic RPG for the DS. I had it. I played it. I just can't remember what it was called. It was incredibly forgettable to me.
Well, they need to make one that's not forgettable.
I wish I could remember what it was called. Let me check. Sonic RPG, Nintendo DS, Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood. That's the one.
Oh, well, there you go.
But I just didn't really find it that interesting, and I didn't think. Well, I would have to play it again and actually look at it critically to see why exactly it didn't work for me. But I do remember just losing interest very quickly.
Well, play it retro. I plan on playing a whole bunch of games retro again.
Well, I would have to get all the special equipment for the DS, and that's expensive.
Well, that said, Sega's porting, so keep your eyes open. November, we'll see if it does any good. Well, and again, let's just hope it's the opening of a door. Bring a whole bunch of crap over to PC. I'd rather not have to be on a console if I can avoid it.
Open your
consoles
new window.
Are expensive.
Because, that being said, Destiny. Mouse?
No, you take this.
You take it. You brought it up.
I didn't bring up the Destiny thing. You did.
I did not.
I'm sure, because I don't touch Destiny whatsoever because it's so absolutely horrible.
Something about automatic downloads and featured content, because I didn't read up on it because I thought it was yours.
I think that was me.
Oh, CC.
Oh, it was me. So
Sorry.
what they've... Sorry, I can't see the notes right now. Now I can see them.
We're not used to you doing a video game.
I'm the one who brought up Sonic Lost World.
Okay,
And
well,
Coffin
yes,
Dodgers.
true.
And Coffin Dodgers.
You're just not used to me approaching Destiny. That's usually someone else.
That's usually Drew.
Take it, girl. Take it. All yours.
So Destiny Taken King PS4. Some people who got on their PS4s, and I don't... Do you own a PS4? No?
I don't currently. I would like to have one only because of certain games, but...
Well, sometimes there were some people who got onto their Destiny accounts, onto their PS4s and discovered that Destiny Taken King had already been downloaded onto their PS4.
Even if they didn't own it?
Even if they didn't own it. Very much like it's similar to the way that, 2 years ago, that some people just found that a U2 album had been downloaded onto their iTunes.
Oh, I remember that. That happened
because the autosync. That's very similar to what's going on here. And there are some people who, and this is bringing up again, people's rights. They say, oh, do you have the right to install something like this on my game? I don't, because I never agreed to having this game take up this space on my PS4. It's a big enough game that I would definitely be like, what is this? Why is it here? How do I get it off? It's bringing up the rights of the individual.
So is it playable?
I don't know if you have to buy it or not. The information I had is that it was just already downloaded. I think you do have to buy it, but it's just there.
It's just there.
Weird.
It's just in your library.
It's all up in your face and stuff.
Yeah, so that's really, really weird. And like I said, it's bringing up the rights. Well, this is my PS4. Do you really have the right to install software on it without my permission? And then the company's point of, well, we are the ones who run everything. So what you gonna do?
Well, it depends. I guess it depends on the terms of service when you sign up for the online version, which is one of the reasons why I'm not really planning to uh, get any kind of online outside of Steam. And I trust Valve more than I trust, say, Sony or Microsoft.
Well, it's also easier to go into your laptop and just wipe Steam off if something happens.
Well,
Yeah, if something happens.
Whereas if you have online stuff with a PS4, it's like, well, your entire console is now useless.
As far as Steam is concerned, they're like, oh, well, you were giving them money. I don't care whether you install this game or not.
Yeah.
Do what you will. Mazel tov.
Yeah, they'll put it in your library, but they don't pre-install
it. Yeah, they're not going to install it unless you ask them to.
So it's really weird that this is happening. That's about all I have.
Interesting.
Is that this is weird. Most everything that I've found on it so far is how to get Destiny off.
Yeah, that's what happened when you 2 came out.
You know.
I don't know why anybody ever thinks this is a good idea, because the only thing you ever find about it immediately afterwards is, how do I get this off?
I want this gone.
Congratulations. They have turned Destiny into the Internet Explorer of games.
Yep. I was like, I knew. Absolutely not.
So going from one kerfluffle to the other, we have the issues going on with Star Citizen.
This one I know is yours, Mal, so you take it.
This one is mine. You guys, of course, remember about Star Citizen, don't you? Who knows about Star Citizen here?
I know a little bit about it.
Just a little bit?
Just a little bit.
Well,
I only read one of the 2 articles. Unfortunately, I read the back one. I didn't read the front one because I didn't care. Because I don't play it.
Star Citizen is a crowd-funded game initiative produced by Chris Roberts and his company Cloud Imperium Games. Now, if you think that the name Chris Roberts sounds familiar, it really is familiar, especially if you grew up in the 80s or 90s and you played Wing Commander. Chris Roberts was the mastermind behind Wing Commander. And so Star Citizen is this incredibly ambitious, ginormous galaxy. It would be like Wing Commander on steroids. And for the past couple of years, I believe it's been in development for 4 years, they have been selling special starships, as for example, for fundraising, and it's like hundreds of dollars for one of those starships, for end-game starships. Long story short, the total funding of the game via Kickstarter and other crowdfunding venues and personal donations has surpassed $90 million as of October 2015. That is at least how much they claim. However, there has been very little of the game that has actually manifested outside of demos that do not necessarily reflect what the promises of the final game should be. And then we've had Derek Smart. This is probably a name that only a few people watching this show would recognize. Derek Smart is kind of like the Phil Fish of the previous generation, in that he is a very, very contemptible individual who doesn't know when to keep his mouth shut. He is the developer and creator of the Universal Combat series and Battlecruiser Millennium, games that were praised in the past for their ambition, but always coming across as incredibly unfinished. And Derek Smart, probably because he was somewhat, I am ascribing motives, so this is entirely speculation on my side, has had a bit of a hate boner for Star Citizen, and for a while he has been campaigning saying that this game is vaporware and that that Robert's ambition is going to make this game unfinishable.
As you describe this, I keep hearing Molyneux.
Yes, Chris Roberts may be falling prey to the Molyneux effect, which is
it's all a fable.
It's all a fable. You remember all of the promises that
Project
oh,
Ego.
the trees. Remember the trees. It's always the trees. You remember that?
I remember something about the damn trees.
Uh, long story short, Molyneux used to say that Fable was going to be such an interactive environment that you could plant an acorn seed, and when you would come back, the tree would be there and grown. Uh,
Yeah.
All Project Ego. Everything he sold, I swallowed, and then
yeah, I know.
So going back to Star Citizen.
Yeah, I know exactly how you feel. I backed Godus. And you know how that ended.
Yes, I did.
So, Derek Smart says that the 4-year, 90 million Star Citizen video game project, he says it's no longer a going concern, that the project is FUBAR, and that there is no going back. Multiple sources are saying that the company now only has around $8 million of operating cash left, with over 260 people working in California, Texas, Germany, and the United Kingdom, with estimated costs of about $3 million per month. And there have apparently been some layoffs, or as they call it, downsizing, recently. So the project seems to be in serious problems. Nobody quite knows what exactly happened. The Escapist magazine made a very, very scathing article. They published a very scathing article, and Chris Roberts did not take it kindly. Also, they said that they reached out to him for comments, and that they did not receive any comments as of the publishing date. But Chris Roberts says that he was never contacted. The Escapist says, well, actually, there was an error with the email. Chris Roberts is saying that the Escapist was negligent in its reporting, and asked for an apology. The Escapist has not offered one, and now Chris Roberts is threatening with legal action. It's an enormous mess.
Well, to the point that the Escapist had to produce, this is the article I read, they had to produce a second article basically explaining exactly how they arrived with, all the without naming the sources. They said, oh, well, this person, we corroborated this, that, the other thing, and these people say that they worked there.
Ex-employees of Chris Roberts. And also they were very, very clear to point out that none of the sources were Derek Smart.
And they said, and then there were even like 2 current employees who didn't want, and somebody didn't want to get named, so they made sure not to. They said, but if it was just these people, they wouldn't have run with it, but it was the fact that they had so much corroboration between these individuals.
Yep.
That's the article I read. So,
and there is a very good case for what the Escapist is building towards. The fact that we have not seen anything outside of some very basic demos of different modes. So you have the first-person shooter part of the game. You have the spaceship piloting part of the game, but we have not actually seen anything that is an integrated whole like we were promised. And I'm saying we, but I was not a backer because I looked at this and I went, money, no. I think that this game is definitely not going to make it. $90 million over 4 years, with only $8 or $9 million left, and all you have at this point is what has been shown. This game is probably vaporware.
And I significantly caution them before pulling that plug, because we all know what happened with the state of Washington with a series of simple deck of cards.
Yeah,
and the fact that they got that got reamed for 3 times what they took in just from Washington.
Yeah, and considering at this point, they should cut their losses and just finish the ship, the ship piloting and dog fighting parts of the game and make it into a Wing Commander sequel, or as Wing Commander spiritual successor. Cut your losses, people. At least give us that part of the game.
Make a playable game that's good.
Yeah. And next time, don't let Chris Roberts helm the company. I'm not entirely sure what happened. Whether he clearly suffered from Molyneux syndrome. He was able to pull off all of those other wing commanders, but I'm wondering if it was because that was back in Origin. So I'm not sure if either Richard Garriott or Phil Spector were keeping things under control. Then again, Richard Garriott has a tendency to feature creep as well, so I don't know.
But then again, Richard Garriott also has the funds to allow for it.
Yeah, Richard Garriott is kind of rich as all get out.
Yeah, you can tolerate a certain level of feature creep when you have the funds to actually back the feature creep. But when your ambition outreaches, from the get-go outreaches your capacity to bring in cash, you need to basically say, we stop here because we want game that work.
Yeah.
Game that work, make people happy. Then we get more money, we make more features.
Yep.
So everyone has to understand you cannot make the universe according to code and then go, it's only going to cost me $500,000. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can do it in 2 weeks.
This is... Yeah, no. This is a little bit of what... this is just... When you look at how ambitious the scope of this game was, I am surprised that anyone thought, oh yeah, they can totally pull this off in like a reasonable amount of time. This is the kind of game that if you manage to pull off makes you a legend, but most likely will not because it requires more money than God has.
Well, and plus also, a lot of people don't look at these critically. A lot of them go, they see all the features being promised and just go, drool, I want to play game.
Because it sounds amazing.
Yeah. I mean, when you're being promised the world and it's only going to cost you $5, great. Here's my $5.
Yeah.
And, well, this is something that we have seen... This is a bit of a growing pains kind of thing with crowdsourcing, that we've got all of these, many of these developers who have had or have made a name for themselves in the past, getting shit tons of money, and then they have to deal with the fact that money eventually runs out, and that a buck won't stretch as far as they, want it to.
And just because you're a good game designer does not mean you are a good business manager.
Right.
You have to be able to manage the funds. You need to be realistic. You need to know when to pull back.
And that another thing is also that you need to show your backers that you're willing to put a personal stake into the project, as opposed to just playing with other people's funds. I do know that the Coles have put personal stakes of their own property, basically. I don't know if I think they may have mortgaged their house or something like that to basically make sure that the game would finish. So, those are developers who are going, okay, you've given us this money, we're going to meet you halfway. This is our personal investment and our personal...
Yeah, there's no golden parachute, no simply walking away going, oh, well, that was their cash, not ours.
Yeah.
There's none of that. So, shall we move on?
Let us move on.
I need to do a quick correction on the Destiny.
Oh, yes.
I was double checking my notes. I could not actually access my notes for a couple of minutes there while I was talking because my computer freaked out and it was like, no, you don't get to do anything. So I was like, fine, I'll just talk from memory. It's not actually downloaded on your computer, but it is on your computer, on your PS4, but it is on your
library,
on your desktop and in your library.
Odd.
So it just shows up, and then when you click it, it
downloads.
It sends you to a link to the page to buy and download the game. So it's still just showing up on your desktop with games you already own.
Not quite as obnoxious, but
not
still
quite as obnoxious as actually being
Yeah.
installed, but it's still like, what is this here and why is this in my personal library? Get out.
Well, when Steam does something similar to that with free-to-play games. Free-to-play games already show up in your library and you can download them.
But they go away.
But
they
go
do
away.
say go away. They go away. They have free-to-play games that are always free-to-play, which you just don't, which you actually have to go out and find, like Team
Yeah.
Fortress 2. And then they have free-to-play things which are like, free to play for 3 games, and it shows up there, but it just says free to play 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
You
it
know?
goes away after that.
Also, Steam is frankly more
managed.
reliable, better managed, and the consumer has more reason to trust Steam than who's in charge of PS4 right now?
PlayStation? Sony?
PlayStation, yes.
Sony?
Duh. Okay, yeah. Yeah, Sony. Sorry, I just had this brain moment. Yeah, but we have much more reason to trust them than to trust Sony, PlayStation people.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Let's move on
Yeah.
then. Next up, Ubisoft is bringing us
Ubisoft.
to the Mesozoic era, as I understand it,
Yeah.
when they are bringing their next expansion, Far Cry Primal. And I have to say, I'm intrigued.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a very interesting direction to take it, because we haven't had a really good. I love Ark, and I think Ark is cool, but Ark isn't quite this. This isn't. That's just sort of a sim, as far as I'm concerned. It's Sim Dinosaur.
Okay, Drew. First of all, I do have to ask you one question.
Yes.
The link that you posted for this article, the Kotaku one. Why is the sidebar wanting me to look at Justin Bieber's wiener?
Why would I know that?
This was my link, actually.
You have a lot to answer for.
And I don't know why.
That is
I
something I did
don't
not need
care.
to see.
Yeah, all I did is grab the video for the trailer. That's what I did.
Yeah, that was my link, and I don't know why, because it's showing up on mine too, and I don't understand.
I can safely say I did not go to the Kotaku site because I don't need to see Justin Bieber's wiener.
Yeah.
So, anybody want to talk about anything other than Justin Bieber's wiener? Let's, I don't know, Far Cry Primal.
Yes, but Far Cry Primal, it looks cool. I'm interested in the premise. I am with Drew here. I don't think we've really seen a good prehistoric kind of game pretty much ever.
I think Turok was the last thing that came close, and even Turok isn't really primal. It's not really medieval or Mesozoic. It's more of a American Indian with raptors. It's more of a Jurassic Park than anything else.
Yeah, so I'm actually very interested. What is it? Is Far Cry one of the games that was slammed with accusations of racism or homophobia?
Probably both.
It
Probably
was
both in
racism
different
because
games?
they thought that the cover depicted a white man holding down a native.
Even though he's a native also.
Although he's a native also, which again, I'm skeptical, but then again, it's a Ubisoft game, so I will be skeptical. The last Ubisoft game that I played that I enjoyed was Black Flag, and ever since then, it has just been a spiral of disappointments for me.
Well, they did show someone with lighter skin in a position of power, which you can argue definitely would come across as racist to an American society, where that historically has been the case.
But it's another
Whether or
one.
not
It
that's
was
true.
another one of those situations where someone jumped to a conclusion without being informed.
That happens on the internet?
Well, anyway.
So many special snowflakes. Sorry. Go ahead.
Anyway, I think this is an interesting. I'm wondering if some of their motivation for that may have been like, okay, well, we can't show anything modern because the Far Cry people. They've been having a lot of trouble trying to be edgy and just offensive enough, but not actually offensive. They're not like the Borderlands people. Are very good at towing the line there, and the Far Cry people have not been so successful. So I was wondering if maybe that might be to avoid some of those accusations.
It could be, and it
I
could be one
wrong.
of those.
I may be making that up.
Well, it could be one of those things that they're kind of running out of ideas, because let's be honest, Far Cry is very similar to a lot of games that have been coming out. You've got Uncharted, you've got oh God, what was it? Just Cause, Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs. It's got a similar feel to all of these types of games, And perhaps they're basically saying, okay, we've kind of run the gamut. Let's go step into our own territory. And stepping back in time is kind of basically saying, hey, we've got a whole bunch of crap we can do here. We can play with this time thing and see where this takes us. Yeah, it's again Assassin's Creedy, but you don't have any assassins running around in their woolly mammoth shorts or anything like that I'm aware of. Although I'd pay for that too.
Of course you would.
So I'm with you, Cece. I'm curious. I'd like to see it. So
Yeah.
I'm willing to give Ubisoft the benefit of the doubt here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Next up, though, speaking of benefits of doubts or doubts about benefits, Shenmue III.
Mm-hmm.
Mouse, did you want to take this one?
Let's both take it, considering.
Well, Shenmue 3. We've kind of been over this a couple times. I mean, for those who don't remember, this was presented on Kickstarter first, and as soon as it started racking up lots and lots of money on Kickstarter, then it was revealed that, oh, by the way, Sony's backing this, and you guys are just kind of helping out. But they were disappointed. Mouse, you want to take the disappointment side?
Well, here's the thing. Suzuki basically said, if we reach the $5 million mark, one of the things that we really want to do with this game will actually happen. But we actually need $10 million so we can have all of the features of an open world, and the game will be what it really should be. They only raised $6.3 million via the Kickstarter campaign.
Poor babies. It's only the most successful Kickstarter campaign for a game ever.
One single manly tear.
Poor babies.
That's what we should have named this episode. One single manly tear.
You can still rename it.
Nope, I can't. I've already said it.
You can edit it.
Nope.
You can do additional dialogue recording.
Nope.
Well, there you go.
Nope. Go ahead.
Or we can just rename it and leave the whole video like this, and people will see the argument.
Exactly, that works.
No, I'm keeping it what it is. Maybe we can call it that later. Maybe we can talk about Shenmue 3 later on another episode. We can talk about it then.
It's just Suzuki is the worst kind of person to talk.
By the way,
to talk to the press. You're writing what down?
One single manly
tear. So, Suzuki told Eurogamer, flat out, I could do with a bit more money. The game doesn't have to be gorgeous visually, but give me more money. And I'm like, bitch, you have $6 million. Make a game out of that. Especially if you're actually getting backed by Sony.
It's
It's only $4 million.
Any idea how successful this campaign has actually been? If the sheer amount of interest that this is shown means that Sony should be throwing money at it.
But of course, Sony being Sony, it does Sony, so it doesn't.
I wanted to grab the graphic to actually show the disparity between what they asked and what they got, and the fact that here's Shenmue 3. And then Numenera is right here, and then like that.
Yeah.
Pillars of Eternity had $4 million. Broken Age, $3.5 million, and heck, Wasteland 2 only had $3 million, and they delivered that game ages ago already. Elite Dangerous, $2.5 million, and it's more complete now than Star Citizen.
What's interesting to me is that they're complaining about not having enough money after setting an original goal of $2 million, which they did 3 times the amount. So I would be kind of worried if I was a backer, wait, this, I don't like, because when we first brought up Shenmue 3, we talked about how it seemed kind of suspicious that they kept information in the dark, and then they were suddenly like, oh, well, we need your help to back this up. And then it was like, wait, why?
We
This
just
is a
wanted
Sony
to prove that that the people liked
there's
it, that they were
interest.
going to buy it, and
Yeah. See,
And
this
now they're
this
going, oh, well, we had 2 million, but now we need 5 million. Then they said, oh, well, now we need 10 million. And
I,
it's
you
just,
know what this is? Do you know what this is?
yeah.
This is the freshman going away to college who suddenly realizes that her dad will give her whatever money she wants to get as long as she makes it college related.
I can make
oh,
it.
well,
I
need $1,000 for rent.
I can get
and
all A's
there's-
if I eat ramen.
and like and then there's like the gym fee, whatever that. So I would really need $3,000, but if you really want to have a good college experience, it'll be $5,000 because then I have to get the car and I have to get the lights. This is exactly it. Suzuki is the college freshman going, I could really make this good.
Keyword is wealthy, because I do not think I think a lot of college freshmen, especially nowadays, understand the burden that this kind of money puts on their families, and they
Yeah.
see all their older friends getting into terrible debt and freaking out. So it's only the kind of kids whose parents can just casually buy them a new car when they wreck theirs.
Or are totally
But-
clueless.
You know. But the metaphor stands. I just want to
Yeah.
clarify
Yeah.
before any college people get upset.
Yeah, don't
We're
send.
probably not talking about you, because
Yeah,
you're
don't-
Okay.
probably show more.
Yeah, okay,
Don't
if-
send
if-
hate
if-
mail. We don't want it.
Yeah. Okay. No. I will change my metaphor. Suzuki is Lauretta in Johnny's Kiki.
Yes.
And anybody who doesn't
although
get
that's-
that, you're right along the same boat with me.
Or we just need to say she's just a sugar baby.
Yeah, sugar baby. Suzuki
Sugar baby
is
asking for money from the sugar daddy.
Suzuki is a total sugar baby, and he's looking at you as his sugar daddy. Just don't.
It's too late now. They're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're done. They've already closed the campaign. They're like, we're so sad. We only
We're
got
so
3
sad."
times the amount we asked for.
Ooh.
Like,
Yeah.
okay.
All right. So moving
It's-
along.
It's.
Oh.
I'll just finish with the coda because I think the ending of this article says it all. Shenmue III may be the best funded game in history that ends with a "to be continued" message, or even better, a link to a second Kickstarter, so that we may continue to disappoint Suzuki with our mere millions of dollars.
Yeah, because he'll put up another Kickstarter. He'll get the 3.7 mil that he needs to make his 10, and he'll go, you know what would really make this game great? $20 million. If I didn't get $20 million, the game's just going to be mediocre at best.
Yeah, it's like, it makes me nervous. It's like, oh, do you
It
actually
make-
know how to run your money? Glares at, what is it? What's that game we were just talking about?
Star Citizen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Glares at
it's
Star
like-
Citizen.
You know,
like,
you-
oh,
you
are we
need-
going to have that again?
You need to, like, Suzuki, you need to go and hang out with Roberts and crash Derek Smart's party. And he can scream at both of you and make you feel terrible. And yes, just get off fucking Kickstarter and let other people who know what they're doing do what they know how to do.
Yeah, if you've got a freaking studio backing you, hold your hand out to the studio.
Yeah, GTFO.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, there's going to be Wizards of the Coast is rolling out a new PDF for Dungeons and Dragons. They're on 5.0, I think. It's one of the classes. It's a Rune Scribe Prestige class.
And this is to basically take their prestige classes and give them actual levels 1 through 10, so that they're not necessarily prestige classes. It allows you to actually play them from scratch as a base class, as I understand it.
It does say that these game mechanics are in draft form, usable in your campaign, but not fully tempered by playtests and design iterations. If you use them, be ready to roll on any issues that come up. They're written in pencil, not ink, and it's not legal. And the material is not legal in any D&D organized play events, because the rules are still kind of. But
Well, it's
So-
kind of like saying, oh, we're going to toss out the entire prestige concept and just... Yeah.
And, there are people who might get upset by that. There are people who might not. Honestly, it's Dungeons and Dragons. If you don't like them, don't use them.
I don't. Pathfinder.
Just if you think prestige classes should be only prestige classes, then Good for you.
I think characters should all be just salted.
Yeah. So it's
I'm just nodding. Yes.
Yes. Yes. So it looks cool. It reminds me a lot of the way that in Pathfinder they have so many of these prestige classes, so many different, more variations on things that you can use, and it's a much more complex game in many ways because of these choices. But it also reminds me of the ways that you have that one group of friends that plays D&D, and there's the guy who just casually changes all the rules to fit his particular dungeon mastering style. Yeah, it's like the guy who's like, well, you're really supposed to be fighting. Well, you're pretty young characters, so you're only supposed to be fighting like challenge level 7. But here's a challenge level 11 guy. Then he makes fun of you when you all die, and it's like, And he's like, oh, you don't know how to play. You suck at this game.
Yeah, I've done that, so...
Well, I don't like it when people do that, because it's like, really? I don't see why I'm playing this game if you're doing it to kill me.
It was, in all fairness, it was because I hadn't... It's actually on the YouTube channel, and it was one of those situations where I hadn't dungeon mastered in a while, let alone with actual stats.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like going, this looks about right. Let's see how you guys do.
And see, that's just ignorance. That's not deliberately going out of your way to get everyone else killed. Not that I'm thinking of any particular dungeon masters at the moment, but it's like, I don't see why I should play with you anymore.
Yeah.
Where was I going with that?
Once I realized they were pretty much dying.
It looks like... Sorry. Where was I going with this? Anyway.
Where was I going with this rant?
Yeah, where was I going with this rant?
We're geeks and we're easily distracted. Get over it.
Yeah. Rune Scribe, Prestige class. Yay. Maybe. Maybe not.
Try it. See if
I haven't actually played 5.0 yet.
I refuse. All right. So
you categorically refuse.
I categorically refuse unless somebody runs a campaign for me.
If you're
lazy.
If I was playing and wanting to die quickly, I'd be playing Call of Cthulhu.
All right. So TwitchCon.
Yay!
I promised. TwitchCon did not have a lot of stuff that was, of interest to probably the universe, but for those who are Twitch broadcasters, it did, or Twitch aficionados, or Twitch watchers,
or just Twitch.
Huh?
Or those who just Twitch on general principles.
Well, if you Twitch on general principles, you don't need their software upgrades. But one of the things they announced was they are moving away from Flash. They will be going to the full HTML5 suite.
That took them a while.
Yes, but it's coming up in 2016, so...
That's still going to take them a while.
Yeah. Another thing that they announced is they will soon allow people to actually upload videos. So they're basically going the reverse of YouTube. Whereas YouTube is running into YouTube gaming, now Twitch is becoming TwitchTube.
The other thing.
TwitchTube. So you're going to be able to upload videos. In addition, they will have the ability to have playlists.
And men can now show nipples now.
No. Men used to be able to show nipples. Technically, so did women. But they'll have playlists so that, for example, if I had uploaded all the YouTube content from Steel Phoenix over to the Steel Phoenix channel over on Twitch, I could set up a playlist and say, I want to play all of the Let's Play of SWTOR. And, by the way, I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do it the hard way Monday.
What's the hard way?
The hard way means I'm going to make XSplit do it. I got it covered. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
But you could actually say, I'm going to play these videos, and it will make your channel live while it does it. I'm not quite sure how that interacts with chat, because your chat's going to be going, hey, is anybody here? But we'll see.
They should have signs like, this is a recording.
Yeah, they might. They might have this is playback, this is pre-recorded or whatnot. Or the way they described it, I actually thought it was. I don't think they'll do this, but I would laugh if they did. the way they described it, I got this image of them basically running the stream and then the chat simulcasting what was going on in chat at that exact same moment. In addition to the people coming in and going, oh, let's chat with these people who aren't already here.
Damn.
I don't think that's going to happen, but I would laugh if that was the case.
Chatception.
It is chatception. And on top of that, they announced that they will be giving increased support to all of the PlayStations, except for obviously PS1, because PS1 doesn't have support for anything. So PS2, PS3, PSP, PS4, they will all be getting native Twitch support. And there you have it. That is my update for anything that you probably will care about from TwitchCon.
All right.
Nice.
So,
Yay.
I went. I learned. I brought back information.
Thank you very much.
Vinny
Drew,
Vinny
for that.
Bitches.
So, moving on to comics and literature. First up,
Da-da-da-da-da.
we're just going to leave the DC logo up there because I couldn't find anything good for Dark Knight 3. But Dark Knight 3 will be coming out in November 25th, if I recall correctly. This is Dark Knight. It's based on the Dark Knight Returns and Dark Knight Strikes Again, which was Dark Knight 2, I guess. And this will be called Dark Knight 3: The Master Race.
The Master Race.
The Master
The
Race.
PC Master Race.
My German heritage is quite happy right now.
Das Urkind. Übermensch.
That's good.
There will be a whole crap ton of alternate covers available for this when it comes out. I think they said something about, I'm thinking 30? 30 retailers are participating in this program. There's a whole bunch of alternate covers coming out. Art primarily from Kubert and Jansen, later who inked Millar's art in the original story. So yeah, keep an eye open for this. That's really all I have for Batman. But on top of that, Superman American Alien. Mouse, you want to take this one?
Well, there's really not much to say except that this is going to be a series of 7 comics, illustrated and written by illustrated by different people, and I believe the series starts in November. And one second, my browser just decided to freeze.
It's primarily they phrased it. It's primarily about Clark Kent younger days, if I recall correctly.
Yes, it's basically the. I love the way that Landis put it. Basically, says that the stories in American Alien are less about Superman, Clark Kent becoming a superhero, and more about becoming not an asshole. Now, I hate to burst Landis's bubble in this, but too little, too late. Because Scott Lobdell turned Superman into a raging cock. And
have you seen the New 52? Too late.
It's way too late. Unless you want to retcon everything that Lobdell did and start from here, which I think would be a great idea. And tangentially, this is just a message to any fellow Teen Titan fans out there.
It's 8 o'clock.
Outside of that,
It is 8 o'clock.
it is 8 o'clock. For those of you who need to mourn,
7 o'clock here.
as of issue number 12 of the Teen Titans, Scott Lobdell is back on the issue as a writer, and Pfeiffer is listed as a scripter. So Lobdell will plan the story, and Pfeiffer will, I guess, take the shit that Lobdell excretes and put it into words such as they are.
Thank you. Lovely.
The Titans are pretty much dead as a title at this point.
We got
And
30 minutes now. Let's go.
Yeah, and Landis in this point is trying to basically make the character Superman not an asshole. But again, it's hard when you're telling the story in the past and the present
Is an
lies.
asshole.
And the present he's an asshole. So it would be
Well-
interesting to see, but
Yeah, it could be really interesting to see, and if they do well with it, I would definitely enjoy reading it, looking into it. Again, as someone who has worked with children, they're not always very good people, and that's just the nature of being a child. You don't really know right from wrong until someone teaches you that.
Yes.
So, I mean, ignoring Superman's more recent New 52 history, he's supposedly a good guy, and you can even argue with ignoring Superman's old history, where he's a sexist dick. He is. Calm down.
I'm not denying.
It's super dickery.
I mean, it's super dickery, but at the same time, he was a good guy, and
But he was
he
a
still
dick.
tried to be a good guy. Like, he was a dick,
And a
but
dick.
kind of that was also the social norm and expectation for the time. Anyway, sorry, I'm not focusing well today. I've had a long day of classes, and I can't focus
Well,
anymore.
that's why we got 30 minutes, so I just want to plow.
Anyway, this could be good. I don't know.
Be.
I'm interested. I like the premise of it.
And no one said that this is actually this New 52 Superman. It could be any of the Superman for all we know.
The one that has not been soiled. I like that idea, yes.
So it could be any of them. Who knows? So let's move on to Valiant Comics and
Yes!
their delightfully plus-sized superheroine Faith, who has been around for quite a while as a member of the Harbingers.
Yes, the Harbingers were published in the early to mid 90s, and at the time, Faith, whose code name is Zephyr, but some of her teammates in rather mean-spiritedly called her Zeppelin because she had the power of flight. At the time, she was kind of the representation of the outcast, overweight geeks. And Valiant kind of went away for a while, and then they started their resurgence in 2012. And Joshua Dysart, actually, as far back as 2012, has been talking about bringing Faith into her own series. So this is something that has been 3 days in the making, and in January, Faith is actually going to get her own 4-issue miniseries called Faith.
She did have a brief stint in Unity, which is kind of the momentary flagship of it's their version of the Justice League, and they really established how different of a character she is in comparison to quite honestly the more hard ass, because almost every heroic person in the Valiant universe is a hard ass.
Yeah.
There are no really sweet, cute squirrel girl type people, and she's just sweet and bubbly and she just wants to go out and help everybody.
She's a geek who loves comics and
Yes.
bases her superhero career on her favorite comics.
And-
she's like Kamala Khan. She's the Kamala Khan of the Valiant universe.
Yeah.
And she looks like Mama Cass. So
And-
what's
and
not to love?
For any Terry Pratchett fans out there, she has really lovely hair.
Yes, she has a very, very lovely hair and a wonderful personality.
Yes. Yes.
And I just love this picture that they have of her on the cover. It's so freaking adorable. You
With
just want to pinch
the
those
birds.
cheeks with the little birdies. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love that picture so much.
This is
So-
kind of a funny thing, but I love that she has a rotund belly. Because women put on weight on your bellies. That is how you work.
Yeah.
It's life. And I just really enjoy seeing a plus size superheroine who doesn't look like the stick ones that they just kind of expanded a little.
Yeah, like when you see some drawings of Amanda Waller, she does not have put on weight the way women usually do. She's just this huge block, this huge cinder block. Like she's a quarterback, not.
And there are women who are built like that, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
fantastic. But I really like that they have her putting on weight in a very human way.
Yeah.
Very, very, very female human way. And I'm sorry, ladies, this is something that I've had to come to terms with, or that I have yet to come to terms with, but that's an entirely other story, is that you're naturally going to have a tiny, tiny little bit of extra something on your lower belly, because that's your uterus. You have more junk in there than men do.
And you need that
Sorry.
extra layer of fat to protect the organs in there.
Yeah.
Because
And
if
so-
you don't have any, you can actually end up hurting yourself.
Yes, exactly. That's why people with anorexia nervosa actually have the single highest death rate of any other mental disorder. Good to know.
The more you know.
Yeah.
We need to have.
Anyway.
We should have that anytime we give a factoid.
I can't
Yeah.
because I know of a streamer who does it, and I can't steal it from him. So no,
Aw.
sorry.
In any
Mixed
case,
I
up.
will make my own version of it, and you will have. I warn you though, it's gonna have neon cats and rainbows, so it'll be.
Don't make me go get. I've got Yan things I can show you. So yeah, don't.
in any case, I just like she has a round belly.
Yes, I want. This is going to be definitely on my pull list.
Yes.
And I like, in all honesty, she does not have a lot of powers, but she has the fun one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Flight.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So good on you, Valiant. Good on you.
Yes.
And she wears an appropriate costume.
Mhm.
Yes.
For flight.
And
for her body.
Yeah, and for her body. And speaking of appropriate costumes, let's go on to the revamp of Vampirella and Dejah Torres and Red Sonja.
I actually find the remake for Vampirella interesting. In some ways, it kind of reminds me of Kate Beckinsale in Underworld, without the leather corset a little bit. It does.
If Kate were super heroic, I suppose, if Kate Beckinsale met Blade, perhaps.
Sort of, yeah. I'm not too crazy about how the bat is across the back because it's very reminiscent.
That's her obvious nod to vampirism. So
yeah,
I like her boots.
Those are butt kicking, ass stomping boots, and
I want boots like that.
the costume is practical for fighting without not being sexy, unlike the new Wonder Woman outfit. The new Wonder Woman outfit is a mess. This one actually looks good, even though it has I have a love-hate relationship with the Under Armour black under the costume because it looks like you just got out of yoga class and just had to fight. I would have made it a darker red. I would have actually have matched the darker red of the lining. But I guess, you have to have something that will play with her hair, the color of her hair, and unify the black boots with the black top knot. And if you just have a red block in the middle of the body, it's just too much of a transition. So,
I think,
and it would also look kind of like one of those skin tight things from the 80s or so.
Yeah, it would.
Well,
they put men in all the time.
I think part of it is, number one, they don't want to buffy her up. And but they definitely have gone a long way from these slutastic outfits that she's had on, which were far more salacious, shall we say? And same with
the Stripperella outfits,
Dejah Thoris and Red Sonja, who were obviously in their Red Sonja in her chain link bikini, and Dejah Thoris in her damn near nothing.
Yep.
I think those storylines had their place, but I think with the redesign and the relaunch, I think the whole idea is to go away from overly sexualizing them to actually attempting to show them in an empowering type of position.
Yes.
Without removing the sexy elements of a potential costume, because as a gay man, I have to say this: a lot of male superhero costumes are sexy. That's just the way it is. They are not as exposed though as female superhero costumes as a rule. So I like moving female superhero costumes towards the same level as male superhero costumes, in which they're not wearing just dental floss, but they're still there's still a little bit of attractiveness to the costume.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be Armor by Vallejo, for crying out loud. Armor by Vallejo, the less you wear, the more protected you are.
Vallejo.
Yeah.
Although there is one thing, I wish I could see more of what Sonja's armor is, because right now I see she's borrowing Raven's cloak. So I want her to remove the cloak so I can see what they've done with the upper part of her armor. Mm-hmm. But I guess we'll see that when the trades come out.
I saw another Facebook bait, and it was complains. It was Wonder Woman complaining to Superman that he goes, "Oh, your new outfits are here for the movie," and it's like she's got her her little, and she goes, I suspect you might have ulterior motives for me to wear this outfit. And Superman's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then the next thing is Wonder Woman's dead from being under armored, and Batman and Superman are making it out.
Yes, yes, definitely. I do like the fact that Dejah Torres has the, I guess, the fantasy equivalent of a sports bra.
I am such a fan of her costume. I think it is gorgeous. I think
And
it's sexy,
practical.
but practical. Oh, it looks really good.
It's
Really
so
good.
unusual to see a good design for a female helmet that is elegant, functional without being.
Well, it's not just
Bike
it's
helmet.
not just a helmet. I mean, it's meant to be a crown of sorts because
Yeah.
she is Princess of Mars.
Right.
So,
And those shoulder pads are really, really working for her, I think.
I love everything about this costume.
sorry
It
guys,
makes-
I wish I could show it to you, but I only grabbed Vampirella's picture. Sorry.
You
It
know,
is-
CC, you should totally like cosplay this one. Although you'd go broke with buying red
yeah,
body.
I don't think I could afford it with all the gold filigree. But it's gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous.
It is.
I
And
love it.
I love the fact that she has kind of like a gauzy loincloth over her, but it looks like it's not something that would get in the way because it looks like it's tulle, so it just floats behind her, and if
Yeah.
it gets snagged, it would just tear instead of the typical female loincloth that's like leather and like hangs down, and you
Yeah.
wonder how they don't stab themselves by tripping on the loincloth and falling to their deaths.
Yeah.
All right, so shall we move on? Because we've got about 15 minutes to go.
Yeah.
And a lot of topics, so we're going to be skipping things. Do we want to skip Mark?
Let's just mention it very briefly because
Mention it briefly. All yours.
okay, Mark Millar wants to give you the opportunity to satisfy all of your fantasies, starting.
And his.
Hold on. Starting September 28th, which is a Monday, up until November 30th, Mark Millar will be accepting writing and drawing submissions through his Millard World website, and sorry, and Millar will contract 6 artists and 6 writers by December 23rd and commission them to create new stories featuring the characters from the Kick-Ass Starlight and Chrononauts franchises. And he'll also be paying them Marvel and DC starter rates. So if you out there are an aspiring writer or an aspiring artist for comics and you want a bit of a leg up and you think you've got what it takes,
Get off your ass.
get off your ass. I'm not going to do it because I'm doing my stuff, but
I'm not going to do it because I'm not that good, so...
Yeah, I'm not going to do it because I would be terrible at it.
you should just send him a story that will amuse him. But anyways, the book that will be published, these stories will be published next year and every year thereafter in the annual Millar World New Talent Showcase. That is, every winter every year. And the book itself will benefit the Hero Initiative, which is a program that supports comic creators who have fallen into hard times and are in financial needs. So this is like a good bit of
Basically,
loving.
from DC. I'm sorry, was that out loud?
Anyone who worked for DC right now, or anyone who created characters for DC but is currently not working for them right now, and who are obviously not getting...
And still alive, because the dead ones get credit.
Yeah, the dead ones get credit. And as we covered recently, DC fucks you over.
And DC's kind of broke, too. So.
It's kind of broke too, yeah.
Okay, so moving on. Moving on to television, I'm just going to make a quick mention because I have a strange fascination with the island of Dr. Moreau. CBS is apparently looking at making a new series. This is with one of the co-creators of Sleepy Hollow. The new series is going to simply be called Moreau, and it will follow a disgraced London physiologist named Dr. Catherine Moreau, so our first female Dr. Moreau, who retreats to her own private island and to conduct experiments on creating human-animal hybrids. Hello, furries! So, yes, this will be a definite change from the novel, but
Oh my
Sleepy
God!
Hollow
no.
is
No. She becomes the ultimate crazy cat lady.
Yes, she does.
She lives in an island with humanoid cat people. Think about it. Oh my god.
Yes, and I will watch it.
Hey, it can't be as bad as the Marlon Brando for Moreau.
That's why I'm showing Marlon Brando, because
I can't see him.
I think it's perhaps one of the
him.
most awesome pictures of him ever. But
Is that the one where he's playing the gigantic moo?
he is in one of his giant white flowy things with his face all white powdered with the sunglasses and the little bug net spray over, and he's kind of reaching out, going like this. Yeah, he's way frou-frou in this picture. I loved it.
Oh, Marlon.
So,
Marlon.
Moving on from that, when we first started this, I said we would never ever be able to cover Once Upon a Time because no one likes it but me, and we're covering it. So there.
I actually would like to see it. I just don't really have time in my schedule to see it.
I watch it while grading papers sometimes.
It's the only way that makes it last.
The reason that brings it up, is because this season we will be seeing the potential exploration of an LGBT relationship. It's believed to be one that was already hinted at, that being Mulan and Aurora, who is Sleeping Beauty. Huh. Why does Mouse laugh at that, I wonder?
I can't share it. I can't share it in a public setting.
Okay. You'll tell us later then.
It's a variation of "Is it you I want with you once upon a dream?"
Yes.
I can't. Yeah.
So, anyways,
that would be very interesting, especially since Disney properties.
Well, the last, if I recall correctly, the last time we saw Mulan and Aurora, Mulan was just getting ready to confess her feelings, but the way they were setting it up, you didn't know if she was going to confess her feelings to Aurora or her feelings for Aurora's prince. And at that particular moment, Aurora goes, "Isn't it wonderful? We're pregnant." And Mulan goes, "Yeah, great. I want to go join the Merry Men now."
Yeah.
And we haven't seen either one since. So they are supposed to be back in season 5, supposedly, I assume, with the Camelot group. But this may not be the only relationship that gets explored. Who knows? So I just wanted to bring that up.
Well,
go ahead.
This is Disney. I'm interested because Disney has such an influence over pop culture, American culture, especially today. I'm really interested to see how that's received. I think it's going to be received pretty well, frankly, considering the current social and political climate. 10 years ago, not have been received very well. Now, I think it's fine.
And let's be honest. Between Mary Poppins and half of the Disney movies, Disney is responsible for the spontaneous blossoming of several homosexuals. This one included.
Yeah, and
plus this is ABC's version of Disney, so it's more and they've already established like freaking evil Peter Pan, for crying out loud.
Yeah,
I know.
Which I'm totally on board with.
Yeah, me too.
So they can explore because this is obviously a more adult Disney. So, and speaking of homosexual relationships, Mouse, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
So, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we're getting to meet the first cinematic gay male hero that is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The character, his name is Joy Gutierrez, who is played by Juan Pablo Raval. He begins his journey as an Inhuman, which, is his exposure to the recent Terrigen. He wanders the streets in a daze. He causes cataclysms. He melts metals, right? That's what he does.
I don't know.
But I haven't watched the series yet.
But so now we have, we have a gay Mulan and we have a gay Aurora, and now we have a gay hero in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. DC, what's going on?
Well, technically, Aurora would be bi. So.
Yes, well, because bi people exist. So
they do. I'm evidence.
You're a unicorn. I don't believe you exist.
Oh, you don't believe? Oh, well, technically you can't see me, so haha.
No, I cannot see you. So.
Anyway,
I have absolutely no evidence that you exist. For all I know, you're like 3 squirrels in a trench coat.
It's true.
Writing that down. 3 squirrels.
Anyway.
I'm just a wealth of titles today, am I not?
And a trash can. For those who don't know what I'm doing over here, I've got a whiteboard that I write on a lot. So I've got all sorts of notes you guys can't see. I'm glad you can't because I'd be incriminated by half of them. So I'm skipping Ghostbusters because let's skip past Ghostbusters. We can talk
Ain't nobody got time for that. Yeah.
Can I just say one thing about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Go ahead.
Yes,
It's
go ahead.
It's a Whedon Brothers thing, so I'm not really shocked. It's like, oh yeah, they have gay people. They've only been doing that since
Forever.
they're Whedon Brothers. Like,
Since Buffy.
Okay.
Hello.
at least Buffy.
I'm
Probably before
under
that.
your spell.
So yeah, it's, I'm not surprised. And they have a good I feel like they phone it in a lot for certain episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like the first season, I was not really that big a fan
Well,
of.
they
'cause
have
I
a lot
thought
on
they
their
phoned it
plate.
in. They do have a lot on their plate. So
Although
if they're
I do have to say though, I give Joss Whedon credit for sneaking the lyrics "spread under my willow tree" past the censors during the Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
I was listening to that. I was like, did nobody ever listen to this at the network? Oh my God! With every babe.
Mouse. That's nothing. The fact that they paused in the middle of complete. You make me complete.
And then she rises. I mean, I was watching this and I was going, "Oh my God!"
yeah.
That was some Rocky Horror Picture Show shit right there. They pulled that off really damn well.
My point is, if anybody knows how to do gay people, it's Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
Joss Whedon knows how to do gay people.
You can quote me on that.
There you go. That may be
And
a
I
title
will say it
someday,
to his
too.
face.
Write that down as a title. That has to be a title.
Joss Whedon knows how to do gay people.
All right, so we're skipping Ghostbusters. I'm
Yes.
going to make Transformers really quick, and I'll skip my kaiju watch also. Transformers, heads up. We're going to see the Quintessons, Ultra Magnus, Unicron, all sorts of crap. The Beast Wars, everything is coming because Hasbro has gone batshit crazy.
Who's
They have
making the movie
decided to
again?
try and streamline the Transformers universe. Yeah, they've actually used the word streamline.
Which makes no sense, because you'd think you'd sell more toys with more guys.
Well, but they want to have a single unified history, and so they can't. They are in the process of making a Transformers 5. Wahlberg will be back from with his character from 4.
I didn't even know there was a 4.
I didn't know he had a character.
Yeah, he did.
Why would he sign up with the Transformers?
Because Shia LaBeouf sucks.
Why is that a motivation to work with them?
Is this Bay also doing this again?
They don't know. There are rumors that Michael Bay may not be doing the 5th movie.
How?
Now, because that's just the rumors. How the hell do I know? I'm just reporting what I read.
Michael Bay passing up an opportunity to stuff.
Not that he passed it up. We don't even know if he's been offered it.
Because the others have bombed so hard.
Well, that's what Michael Bay does. He's all about the bombs.
Yeah. Hey, the Ninja Turtles is getting a sequel, for crying out loud.
Oh, let's not even go there.
How?
But anyways, as I was saying, Hasbro has decided they're going to do a multimedia blitz called the Prime Wars.
Because everything.
This is going to cover the movies, comics, cartoons, video games, and toy line.
You know something? There was a time when this happened in the past. It was called the fucking 90s. People, stop it. It didn't work back then.
let me add one more thing to this.
Oh God, social media.
In the irony of me saying they want to streamline the Transformers universe, there are rumors that Paramount Studios is already thinking about diversifying the franchise. And according to CrossMap, there are talks that Transformers might see a crossover with G.I. Joe.
I'd watch that.
That is not streamlining.
And it's likely that Dwayne Johnson and Bruce Willis would be part of that cast.
I would watch the shit out of that.
That's still
Gotta
not
be honest.
streamlining, though. I mean, at this point, you just
that is them taking their comic universe and saying, ugh.
just add Gem and the holograms and
God.
and My Little Pony, and there you go.
There might be alcohol involved, but I'm gonna watch that.
If My Little Pony and Gem and the Holograms are crossover with G.I. Joe and Transformers, it's not alcohol that's involved. I think it's hard drugs.
Oh, and the Thundercats. The Thundercats, even though it's not the same.
Thundercats are. If I have to shoot up Thundercats, we're all in trouble. All right, we're gonna skip Kaiju Watch because that's a lot to talk about.
It's
so
a shit ton, yeah.
We can do that next time.
Talk about it some other time. So let's talk about more reasons to hate Batman v Superman, and specifically with the revelation that Jesse Eisenberg is not playing Lex Luthor, but in fact playing his son,
Alexander Luthor.
I'm actually more okay with this. Because I can't see him as Lex Luthor, because Lex Luthor is one of those people who, as a child, I felt very strangely about. And now that I'm older, I realize that was called horniness. So I'm totally okay with Jesse Eisenberg not ruining that precious memory of my developing childhood.
You can safely say I've never been horny for Lex.
Hey, the Batman animated series, he had power. He had power and money.
Okay, I'll give you that. The animated series knew how to make a sexy Lex. But my comment on this is, I'm glad that he's not playing Lex Luthor, because if anybody screams douche, it's Alexander Luthor, and if anybody acts douche, it's Jesse Eisenberg. So douche it up.
Although this kind of really does a number with the whole timeline thing, because it's Alexander Luthor. Well, Superman is still a fairly newcomer, but Dick Grayson is... And old Batman, and Dick Grayson's already dead, and there's no Robin, and Wonder Woman has been around since World War I.
And how old is the Joker?
Yeah, I know.
Apparently new enough to not have had a history with Batman.
Yeah, so that really works.
So why is Dick Grayson dead, even though it shouldn't even be Dick Grayson? Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I know. It's like
maybe Batman killed him. I don't know.
They really do know how to set up all those relations. No, they don't.
We'll see. Maybe it'll work. Maybe we'll all be surprised, and it'll work.
But speaking of the Joker, let's title. I don't have a graphic for it because I didn't have time to make anything suitably appropriate. But we're going to title this section "Actors, Get Your Heads Out Your Asses,"
or just shut up, So Jared Leto basically says that when people see his performance as Joker in the Suicide Squad, they're going to lock him up. They're going to lock him away.
Please
they're going to lock me away in a box after this movie comes out.
Please. I'll pay money.
No, this little special snowflake has been sending dead rats to his co-workers. He's doing the whole method acting. And I'm going to tell you this. I'm sorry. If you need to method act your way so you can actually perform a role, you're a shitty actor.
Learn to compartmentalize your identities.
Yeah. And this whole, I'm so edgy, they're going to need a psychiatrist for me when I'm done with this role. Dude, just stop it. It's like you're an attention whore. Just stop it.
See, those kinds of comments don't actually make me look forward to his performance. It just makes me want to punch him.
It does. As someone who is married to someone who actually has experience with mental issues, it's like the whole, this role's gonna make me crazy. No, you idiot. It won't. It'll just make you sadder, more desperate for attention. Especially since people will go, after you have built it up to this frenzy, people are gonna gonna look at this and gonna go, I liked Heath Ledger more, and you're gonna die a little bit inside.
And anything that he does on screen is scripted, so...
Yeah. It's like, and it's...
But he's so edgy because of the script.
Because of someone else.
Yeah, other people are writing your edginess for you, dude, so just stop taking credits.
Tone it down from 11. Come down and join the rest of us.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we have some also stirring words from Hiddleston about his... Loki character being cut out of Age of Ultron because
He stole the
why?
movie. Well, the movies, the scene where, of course, Thor has the bubble bath of of visions, which it confused a lot of people as to why is he doing that? Why is this happening right now? Although not a lot of people were complaining because they got to see him, shirtless
Bubble,
and
yeah.
wet.
Or pretty.
And
But
moist.
Thor, pretty.
Or pretty.
Actually,
He makes me Thor.
he makes me Thor. Um, the whole sequence was actually much larger, and Loki was in part of the sequence. Tom Hiddleston said that he shot for a day and that he thought the scene made sense, but unfortunately, Kevin Feige called him and said that in pre-screenings, audiences sort of overemphasized the fact that Loki was there, and they thought that Loki was controlling Ultron. So it gave the audience the wrong impression. So they cut Loki out because otherwise it would have turned the film into a wizard did it, Loki did it. And Hiddleston says he's not bitter about it, and that when he saw the movie, it made sense for him not to be there, because if Loki appears even in just one scene, you usually go, well, why is he there? Is he pulling the strings? Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Loki. So Tom Hiddleston, like a good professional, looked at his part and he said, "Well, I guess it didn't make sense. It's a good thing that they cut me from the production because it overall affected the film in a positive way." I like Tom Hiddleston. He's a down. I can't say that he's down to earth because I've never actually met him, but he seems down to earth and like someone you actually want to work with.
I like Jared Leto, because nobody wants
Is
to get
that
rats.
shit crazy?
I don't want to get dead rats.
Yeah, I don't want to get dead rats.
Like that's not even method acting. Mailing dead rats to your coworkers is not method acting.
Yeah, I'd be like, Leo, do you want to eat that rat?
Yeah.
Then send
I
it
know.
to me again.
I
I'll show you my method.
Yeah, that's not method acting. As someone who has been trained in several different schools of acting, that's not method acting.
Yeah,
That's just going out and trying to cause problems for everyone else.
If I had to share a set with him and he'd sent me dead rats, I would rig every single appliance in his trailer to broadcast Tom Hingelpinker and the yodeling orchestra yodels Beethoven's Fifth constantly. That's what I would do to him.
I would go for I think it's Dr. Demento's fish
They're
heads.
coming to take me away. No.
Fish heads,
Heads.
fish heads, roly-poly fish heads.
No.
And then I fail.
Okay. Bring it back into the non-revenge realm.
Yeah, out of the Jared Leto Revenge Club.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and skip Wonder Woman. We'll talk about her.
No.
We'll talk about her another week.
We want to give her more time.
We'll give her more time. So as always, see the magic things to follow us. I still need to get the Geekamole ones in there because I just forgot this time.
Yeah, we have an official Twitter. We have an official fan page. Drew.
I'm sorry. I didn't have as much time to prepare this time.
You've had 2 weeks. That's how long we've had the official page on Twitter.
Mouse.
I wasn't thinking about this
You're turning
graphic.
bitchy gay. You told me to tell you if you ever do this. You're turning bitchy gay. Calm it
I
down.
know.
Calm it down.
It's something that Drew and I do. I have to shame him every now and again. This is how I set a fire to his divinity.
Mouse,
Yeah?
we haven't thanked someone.
Who?
Who?
We have a what?
Who haven't we thanked today?
Oh, yes. Thank God for Jim Sterling.
There you go.
There we go.
So, what are our plans? For those who are watching on Twitch right now, stay tuned because I'll probably be playing something after the show. I don't know what. Maybe a game review. Maybe something. I don't know. Maybe Mouse's. Maybe mine. Maybe both. Maybe something. I don't know.
Maybe
So-
Mouse and I'll just play speedrunners. And
Yes.
that's what you do. Maybe not.
Who knows?
See.
Something. Stay tuned. For those watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button.
It's down there, people.
It's down there, and I need people because the more people I have, the more love there is, and we have a lot of love to give you.
If you're good to mamas. I can't sing. It's late.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, your
and I
roommate.
need to go get food, and I'm starving. So, guys, what are your plans for the week?
Opera.
Not run into cars this time.
Not run into cars. Good. I will be finishing up SWTOR probably tonight, and that will be the last of the Shadows of Revan, and then I am waiting for Knights of the Fallen Empire to come out.
What's that?
That's the next expansion for SWTOR, BioWare Returns. So yeah, I'm waiting with bated breath.
And I will continue to work on my read-only memories playthrough at installments of 40 minutes at a time.
Do it. You can do it an hour.
Or an hour.
Yeah, because that's what I'm breaking the SWTOR ones down to, is about an hour.
All right, and I will play an hour each time. Although I think. Oh yeah, I'll check later.
We'll chat. We'll do lunch.
We'll do lunch.
In as much as I'll be eating my food at a completely separate time and location than you'll be eating yours. We'll do lunch.
I'll have my people call your people.
Yeah, that
That'll
in
be
as
fabulous.
much as we'll be calling each other, because neither one of us has people. So yeah, so peace out, people. Say bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
And